Uh, do you have any concerns about Delilah staying with Mr. Marshall?
Yes, ma'am.
What are those concerns?
Um, for he knows nothing about her. She is not comfortable with him. As well as his home is not fit for a child to be at, and there is nowhere for her to stay or feel comfortable there.
Right now, you're looking at a case out of the state of Texas for child support. The two at the bottom are the child's parents, the father on the left, the mother on the right. DNA has been solidified. The results of that test already revealed in the case. He is the father of the 10-month-old girl. The catch is the mother, she's very interested in child support. She's even asking for back child support payments for them to go back from the time that she was born. But she's doing everything that she can in her power for the judge to not allow the father to see the child. She's for child support payments, but she's against visitation. She's only wanting him to see the child once or twice a month whenever she feels like it and under her supervision. We're going to go ahead and watch this, but first, take a second to make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Click the notification bell for all updates. And if you're watching from the state of Texas, drop Texas below in the comments. Not going to waste any time. Let's go ahead and jump into it.
Who does Delilah live with?
Mallory.
And how long has she lived with Mallory?
Since she was born.
What is the current visitation arrangement?
Every now and then she allows me to see her. Sometimes she doesn't. Just depends on her mood.
The father is confirming that there is no visitation schedule. He's only able to see his baby based on the mood of the mother.
How much do you make per hour?
$17.50.
And how long have you been working here?
About 3 or 4 months.
The father is making $17.50 per hour.
I think I got these numbers figured out, y'all, but I've got some questions in regards to Mr. Marshall's contact rights with Delilah. Mr. Marshall, Miss Wood had expressed some concern that you may not have a good location yet for Delilah. Would you describe for me, sir, where it is that you live? Do you live by yourself or do you live with others?
I live by myself.
All right. And what is the nature of the home that you have? Do you have an apartment? Are you renting a house?
It's a mobile home.
Okay. And how big is this mobile home? How many bedrooms?
2 bedroom.
All right. And you live there by yourself? There's nobody else there with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is your only child?
Yes, sir.
And needless to say, whether or not that you're good or bad is not the question at this point in time, Mr. Marshall, but you don't have any experience, obviously, of raising a child this age, correct?
Well, besides like my nieces and nephews.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Now, Mr. Marshall, I want you to understand something. I'm not denigrating in any way your contact with your nieces and nephews, okay?
Yes, sir.
My major concern at this point in time is that Delilah is safe. I don't think that you would ever put her in any danger based on what you're telling me, but I also need to make sure that you're prepared for the fact that at some point in time in the near future, you're going to have a child that is less than a year old by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay? And I got to make sure you're ready for that.
Yes, sir.
For instance, in this 2-bedroom home that you live in, do you have a crib there for Delilah?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have a car seat for Delilah?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you do understand, Mr. Marshall, that you will have to have all those things before you're allowed to have her by yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to be there when the exchange takes place, but you do understand that Miss Wood's never going to let you have the child by yourself if she doesn't clearly see a car seat in the back of your vehicle.
Yes, sir.
Because you're not allowed in the state of Texas to drive around with a baby this age without an official car seat.
Yes, sir.
Look at the smile on this hyena's face. What's so funny? Granted, before he can have this kid, of course, he's going to have a car seat and he's going to have a crib. And even if he didn't have those things right now, obviously she already knows that he can get it.
You understand you're going to have all the clothes and all the food and the things that she needs to be able to take care of her on your own.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Wood is not responsible for providing those things to you. You have to have them for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I just want to make sure everybody's on the same foot here, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, since Delilah was born, you have had some contact with Delilah, but it's always been supervised. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Miss Wood, I have some questions for you. Now, obviously,
Yes.
Delilah is young, and there's still going to need to be some phased-in period for Mr. Marshall, but he has been exercising some visitation supervised by you or someone else, correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, let me ask you a hard question, Miss Wood. How long do you think Mr. Marshall needs to continue to have supervised contact with the child?
Until forever.
It was because anytime I see, like anytime he's
Miss
around.
Wood, Miss Wood.
Yeah.
I'm not asking you for what's happened in the past.
No,
I'm
yes,
asking
sir.
you about your opinion is how far into the future do you think Mr. Marshall should have to continue to only have supervised visitation with Delilah?
I have no idea, to be honest.
And see, that's what I have to come up with. I have to come
Yes.
up with a plan for Delilah. And this plan has to be balanced beside your anxiety, Miss Wood, about Mr. Marshall being alone with Delilah, but at the same time, giving Mr. Marshall more time with Delilah so that he can get to be a good parent.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that you understand that, Miss Wood. The one thing that I've noticed in the multiple years I've been doing this, young children create very big anxieties for parents when they have to be released to the other parents. And I get it.
Yes, sir.
There's definitely some anxiety there. Okay. But she's still very young. She's only 10
Yes.
months old.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to continue to do at least some of the phases in this visitation schedule, okay? Miss Wood, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
He does not live in his home alone. His
Okay.
cousin lives on his couch with him,
Okay.
as well as the second bedroom that he has is completely filled with stuff. Like he can't get in the room.
Okay.
As well as there are also like roaches everywhere. Like,
Okay.
and I just feel like someone should like be able to go out and look at the place. Like, it's hard to explain everything. Like, I have videos of everything.
Well, Let me see if I might be able to alleviate some of that anxiety, Miss Wood, but I'm not, no matter what I tell you, I'm not going to be able to alleviate all of your fears. You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. So my phased in visitation schedule, Miss Wood, is going to take Mr. Marshall several months before he gets overnight contacts with Delilah. All right.
Yes, sir.
And in the meantime, between now and the time that Mr. Marshall does start to get his overnights, he's going to have to make sure that he's got that bedroom ready and to go for Delilah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And if at the time that the overnight visits start, if you don't think that he's done that, that'll have plenty of time for you to go out and hire an attorney and try to change or modify the visitation schedule.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Anybody watching this can see that he's going to have months before the baby is able to stay with him alone. So that's going to give him enough time to address all these issues, from the cousin to cleaning out the second bedroom, having a crib and everything else, and making sure that the environment is clean and conducive. But here's the thing, she's really not wanting any of that. She's trying to prevent the judge from giving him access and visitation rights, while at the same time forcing him to pay child support.
All right. I can't assume that people are not going to do what I ask them to do.
Yes,
I
sir.
have to assume that they are going to take the steps that I tell them that they have to do.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Miss Wood?
No, sir.
All right. Mr. Marshall, is there anything else you think I need to know about this case before I make a ruling?
Yes, sir. I'm not currently allowed to work right now because yesterday I passed out during work and they brought me to the clinic and my heart rate they said it was way too low.
And Zach, I guarantee the judge is not going to care about any of this. He's going to tell you to get your heart rate back up and go back to work.
So I'm not allowed to go back to work until I'm released by a doctor. And
I'm going to set child support, Mr. Marshall, on you based on what you're earning. Get yourself together.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, don't come in at the last second, Mr. Marshall, and give me that kind of information, buddy. You've been working all this time, so I'm going to set child support based on what you told me. The court's going to find, of course, that's jurisdiction. The court's going to find, based on the testimony of the parties, that I believe it's in Delilah's best interest to name the parties as joint managed conservators, with Ms. Wood as the primary custodian. Mr. Marshall will have visitation at all times mutually agreed to by the parties. If no mutual agreement, then Mr. Marshall is going to have a phased-in visitation schedule. That phased-in schedule is going to be simply because Delilah is 10 months old. It doesn't have anything to do with whether or not Mr. Marshall is a good parent. It has everything to do with the fact that she's young. But there's going to be 10 visits at each phase, Ms. Leonard. That's going to be 10 supervised visits from 1 to 5 on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month, followed by 10 unsupervised visits for 4 hours, 1 to 5 on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month, followed by unsupervised visits for the day, again on the first, third, and fifth Saturday of each month. When that last set is done, then Mr. Marshall will begin to have his overnight contact visits. Those contacts will be 10 visits, 1 night overnight, Saturdays from 6 to Sunday at 6 on the first, third, and fifth weekend of each month. That is the 4th phase of the phased-in visitation schedule. Once that phase is completed, then Mr. Marshall will have standard possession. Again, the phases are a certain number of visits, not a certain number of months. So Mr. Marshall will not be able to completely skip the supervised visits simply by not exercising them. If he doesn't exercise the 10, he doesn't get to move into unsupervised. Child support in this case is going to be as per the following. Ms. Wood is ordered to maintain the current health insurance that she has on the child. Mr. Marshall is going to pay child support as for someone who works in construction in Southeast Texas. I'm from this area, I've been here all my life, and I do understand how the construction works. You work for several months and then you're laid off for a few months, and then you work for several more months and you're laid off again. So I'm going to base child support on what I know the area is. And child support in this case is going to be $630 a month plus an additional $125 a month in cash medical. Those payments will begin October the 1st of 2022. Mr. Marshall will also be assessed a retroactive child support judgment in the amount of $3,850. He'll pay that back at a rate of $40 a month, Ms. Leonard. That payment also beginning October the 1st of 2022. Mr. Marshall will be responsible for the court costs for the filing of this suit as per the law, but I'll give him until March 31st of 2023 to pay my court costs. So Ms. Leonard, that is $630 child support plus $125 medical support plus $3,850 retro with a $40 retroactive child support payments, all payments beginning October 1st of 2022. Ms. Leonard, did the state hear all the terms and conditions of my court order?
Yes, Your Honor.
So the father, he's making $17.50 per hour. He was ordered to pay a total of $795 per month plus court costs. He said that he was temporarily not working for a medical issue, but the judge says, who cares? Get yourself together and pay all of us our money. A 40-hour work week at $17.50 per hour is about $700 per week. Sometimes he's off between jobs, but when he's working, he told the court that he's putting in about 60 hours per week. All I gotta say is Zach is gonna have to keep those payments up or he's going to jail. And then throughout this whole case, not once was the mother grilled about how much money she was making and what she was paying to also support the baby financially with her share. And with the way the judge had the phased-in visitation, it's going to take about 1.5 years or longer for him to be able to have a regular visitation schedule without having to involve the mom, basically forcing him to spend time with this woman in order to spend time with his daughter. But Zachary, you signed up for all of this, all because you got her pregnant. These two never got married, weren't even in a real relationship, only lived together for about 2 weeks, and now she's trying to control him with this baby. And ladies, this is what happens when you have babies with men you don't know. I mean, if he actually went through and completed his visitation, the phased visitation successfully, there's nothing that she's going to be able to do about it besides try to come up with some type of lie to get the judge to revoke his visitation. But let's go ahead and get the conversation started. What do you think about the child support order? He's paying a total of $795 per month. And let me know what you think about that visitation schedule as well below in the comments. Don't forget that you can support this channel as well. Links to Cash App and PayPal are below. Ladies, fellas, want a balanced analysis, want the truth from a woman's perspective? Then you're going to want to subscribe to this channel and don't forget to like and share.